Hello and welcome to Pub Football. It's a brand new season of the Premier League, so it's technically a brand new season of Pub Football. 2021-22 Premier League season kicks off this weekend, kicks off on Friday nights with the Arsenal playing host or travelling to Brentford. I can't remember.
We're at Brentford and going to start with a defeat, yeah.
At the new Brentford Stadium, which used to be called Griffin Park. I can't remember the new name. This has gone off to a good start, hasn't it? We're going to do what we always do at the start of the season and predict the Premier League table come May. The final Premier League table after 38 games. It's our way too early Premier League table prediction. I'm Miles. This is Jimmy. We go bottom to top. We start with the relegation zone. Expect some arguments. Straight away, Jim. Who have you got finishing last in the Premier League this season?
We already know we're going to it's not going to work. But I've got Norwich.
Watford.
Or have you? Their home team, basically, Watford. Big call.
This is pretty hard, yeah.
Yeah, but I've gone Norwich again. I don't think they've learned their lessons. They've lost big players. They can't defend. They'll lose Campbell eventually. They're not going to score enough goals. We're going to go every week. I like Norwich, play good football, lose every week.
But they've got Billy Gilmore, who's going to make a massive difference in their midfield. I think he's great.
He is. I'm just worried about the goals. They brought in a young lad from. He's come from Germany, but I think he's American, isn't he? And he's not going to score goals. I'm sorry. When he's top goal scorer after 4 games, I'll shut up. But he's not going to score.
He was before, and they still went down, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So I've gone Watford, and it was a difficult decision, and I'm going to get a lot of hate from this from a lot of my friends. But I just don't think they've improved. I don't think they've improved from when they went down. Will Hughes is training with the reserves. He's their best player, apart from Ismaila Sarr, who's linked with a move to Spurs. Deeney, realistically, I don't think he's at that level. It's going to be interesting to see how João Pedro does, being tested at this level. I don't think the defence is really there. Tom Cleverley and Chalobah, they got relegated before. I don't think they've improved. And as much as Xisco Munoz did all right getting them up, is he a manager for this level? Yes, it was said about him coming to the Championship. I'm not sure he is. And they're trigger happy, so I could see them going through 3 managers this season, and I just can't see them staying up.
Yeah, you're right. I'm worried for Watford. Watford aren't much higher in my predictions. So as you said, I'm concerned they're not going to score enough goals. Deeney obviously will take a penalty here and there, but I feel like his better days are behind him. And you look, as you said, you mentioned half the squad there, and it's very Championship, isn't it? It's a lot of Championship players.
Danny Rose played for a year. Danny Rose,
yeah.
And he turned up apparently 17 stone at training, well overweight, and he hasn't played in pre-season from what I can really tell. So
no, and obviously I know Watford have got the links with the Pozzos that they'll get some players from Granada and Udinese, and they might find a gem. They really might, but I really do worry for Watford. Really do.
Do you have them in the relegation zone?
No, just above.
Just above. Would you be happy to put them last?
I'd be happy to put them in the relegation zone, not last.
God. Right. Okay. 19th. I've got Newcastle.
Oh, I've got Southampton.
Okay. Yeah, we're not going to agree on much. I agree. I had Southampton scraping it. Again, losing Danny Ings is massive. They've brought in the relatively untested. Is it Brocha, the striker from Chelsea on loan?
Yeah.
Now, he did well at Vitesse, but that's doing well at Vitesse. That's not doing well in the Championship even. So I don't know if Southampton was maybe missing a step. No offence to Dutch football, but unless you're playing for Ajax or PSV, there's not really a point
True.
At this level. Adam Armstrong I'm more interested in because it feels like he's been around for a long time and he's never really had a chance in the Premier League. So if he can replicate some of his Championship form, never know. Southampton could do really well this season. I like James Ward-Prowse. I don't mind Romeo in the midfield. Actually, I don't mind any of their midfielders. I like Walker-Peters at right back. I think he should still be Tottenham's right back. Better than anything we got at the moment. Losing Vestergaard, which looks like it's happening today, to Leicester is a big deal. But yeah, I don't know. I'm willing to put them in the relegation zone. But I think
I'm really worried about Southampton. I think that the back end form of last year was horrendously poor. They went from pretty much being sky high, and then the second half of the season they absolutely plummeted. And as you say, they've lost big players. That Danny Ings scores goals, and he's proven. And you take those goals out of the team, Che Adams isn't going to score the amount of goals Danny Ings scores. And obviously, Ward-Prowse's been linked with other teams. I don't think he'll leave, but they're just not strengthened. They brought in a load of Chelsea academy players. That's not good enough for the Premier League, unfortunately, and I am worried about them.
You've got Walcott still there, who is a Premier League.
So?
And I've seen them linked with Oxlade-Chamberlain. If he can stay fit, he's always a good shout. So I'm willing to put Southampton in the relegation zone.
Yeah.
Not bottom.
Do you want me to tell you my bottom three, and then we can go? Yeah. Oh, okay.
Who's 18th?
So I've got Norwich, Southampton, and Palace.
Wow. Okay. I have Watford, Newcastle, and Burnley.
Okay.
Burnley's another one. Not spend any money. Not bought any players in. They scrape it every year. They, to me, Newcastle and Burnley sort of almost feel like what Wigan and Sunderland were. They're just sort of just surviving as opposed to playing, and your luck always runs out. And I feel Burnley's might this season.
Yeah, Burnley are one of those, aren't they? I've got them a lot higher, which we'll go into, but they always seem to just get enough points every single Premier League season without spending any real money. They play their system, lump it up front. Chris Wood will score goals, job done. And I think they might just be all right.
Okay, I'm willing to give you Norwich.
Right.
Give me Watford.
Yeah, I'll give you that. I only have Watford in 17th, so I'll give you that.
Do we go Southampton?
I'm very worried about Southampton, and I'm also worried about Newcastle. They're very samey, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do we go Watford bottom, Norwich 18th, Norwich 19th, and Southampton 18th?
I wouldn't. I don't think it's going to be far wrong.
Yeah.
I think Newcastle might scrape it if they can get a couple of signings in.
Right, because my 17th, I think you've got a lot higher. And it's a team I only put 17th pessimistically, because I think they're going to do all right. But I didn't want to over-egg it, almost. I put Brentford in 17th.
I've got Brentford about 10th, I think. I've gone big. Yeah. Well, I think they're going to have a great season.
I think they're going to be good, so I'm willing to bump them up the table. The way they bring players in has worked coming up through the leagues, but the Premier League's a different animal completely for bringing these unknown quantities in. Ivan Toney has to replicate his form to stand a chance this season. They're not going to be able to play the best football in the league because there are better teams. So it's going to be more difficult, which is why I was pessimistic in 17th. But I think that we can put maybe a Newcastle in 17th.
Yep, happy with that. More than happy with that.
I know they brought Joe Willock in. Let's talk about Newcastle. Callum Wilson, if he can stay fit, is a good player, but he's unfortunately given himself the number 9 shirt, which has proven to be rubbish for everyone since Alan Shearer. Andy Carroll did well in it, actually, and then left. Papi Cisse did well for 6 months and then was rubbish. And it's been almost a cursed shirt ever since. So the goals are gone from Callum Wilson. Joe Willock's a potentially good signing. Now it's permanent. Is he going to be as effective as on loan? Because sometimes that happens where they're trying to impress their manager at their parent club or just impress. And it works on loan. They get signed permanently and it doesn't. So, yeah, I don't feel like they've strengthened. They're no better than they were last season.
I think we say this every single Premier League kind of preview that Newcastle haven't strengthened, really worried about them. Their fans don't like the manager. They play negative football. But I think if you get their first 11 out with some maximum in there, Wilson up front scoring goals, they're actually quite a good side. But they proved it, I think, back end of the season, last season, they played quite well. But I'm just, again, you're right. I think they're just about going to get enough points.
Right.
That's it. Yeah.
17th, Newcastle. So I think 16th, I think we're getting into a territory now where we're looking at teams like Palace, Brentford, of course, we just mentioned, Brighton, and Burnley. Yeah. The next group. Maybe Wolves could slide into that group as well. Yeah. I think that's sort of the next batch of teams. 16th. See,
for me, I'd personally have Palace, but I know you've got Palace a little bit higher than that.
Yeah, I do. I had Palace in 13th. I'm not sure about Palace. I'm not sure about the manager, but I think it could be a masterstroke. They've changed their philosophy. They tried it with Frank de Boer, didn't work, but I feel like they've got better players to do it now. I'm a big fan of Conor Gallagher in the midfield. I think Mark Guehi could be brilliant. He did well in the Championship. He looks like he's got all the tools to be a top centre half. Now it's his chance, and now he's got to prove it. They brought in some new forwards, which they've always needed. Zaha's still there. They've got rid of some of the dead weight. I'm umming and ahhing about them, and I'm almost willing to give them 16th.
Yeah, you're right. I think it's a really interesting season with Palace, isn't it? Because as you say, Vieira could hit the ground running. They could easily finish mid-table, and we're going, what a great season. Or it's a real slump, real struggle at the start of the season. He's out the door by November, and they're really struggling.
You had them going down.
Well, I did. Yeah, I don't trust Vieira in a role like that. I think he's not equipped, or he's not had the experience to do that. And I think with the amount of players over 30 and contracts are coming to an end, I would have given it to an experienced manager to come in and go, right, let's get some decent players in. Let's just steady the ship, get through the season. Let's build for next year. And Eze being out is a big thing as well. Yeah. Great season last season.
We brought this other young player in for a similar position.
Very good player. Really good player.
Again, it's from the Championship, so
yeah.
I'll give you Palace in 16th, but
thank you.
Okay,
I'll have a swig of beer. Perfect.
Yeah, I'm not willing to go Burnley any higher than 4th. This is the problem. I'm not willing to go. I'm not willing to go Brentford any higher than 15th. I'm also not willing to go Burnley any higher than 15th, and one of them has to be 14th. I think they're our next two sides.
Who do you think will finish higher?
Honestly, Brentford. That's why I put them higher. I think Burnley are going to really struggle this season.
I think Burnley are next, mate. 100%.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of table predictions from a lot of people putting Brentford to go straight back down, and I think that's a bit naive.
So do I. I think they're a very, very clever club. The way they recruit is good. They've got the lad from Celtic, Affo. He's a great player. He can play midfield, can play at the back. They recruit really well, and they play good football. As you say, coming up for the first time, you never know. But I do hope they'll do all right.
I love that Ivan Toney was quoted as saying that the goal for them is to win the league. I was like, great. And that was but at the same time, the only thing I would have really holding them back is a pessimism and thinking they can't beat teams. But if they're going in with an optimism, I think they can. So should we go Brentford in 14th? And that's a really good season coming up.
Yeah, I think they've probably got the perfect first game. Arsenal at home, fans behind them. Arsenal are always going to absolutely bugger that up. They get confidence from that. They'll be flying.
Brighton in 13th, I think, has been nice, but I think they could easily achieve it. They need to sign a goal scorer by the end of the transfer window. If they don't, this could look like a silly prediction. But in saying that, they play the football of a top 10 side, and they do everything but score the goals, which has been a problem for them in the last 2 seasons, really.
Agreed, yeah. I think a goal scorer is massive, isn't it? I think everyone we've mentioned so far could quite easily go down. It's so tricky to kind of predict where teams are going to come because a lot of them don't have a goal scorer, and if they're not getting the goals, it could end in disaster for some of those sides. And I think Brighton will be fine. Premier League experience, good players. I think they'll be all right. Yeah,
just about. 12th, I've gone Wolves. Wolves are a bit of a weird one for me this season. I am not really sure what to make of them. They've lost Nuno, who was a massive part of their revival, I would say, as a football club. They've lost Patricio in goal. They do have Raul Jimenez coming back, which could be massive, but we've got to remember this is a guy who's just fractured his skull. I'd understand if his confidence is low and if he's not going to put his head in. You completely understand it, and he scored a lot of goals with his head. If he's back to that level that he was at before, great, and 12th is a great shout for them. But this team could almost fall into relegation candidacy this season.
Yeah, they are. It's going to be interesting, isn't it? You've got a manager who is unproven. A goal kill. Obviously, they've got rid of Patricio and changed it with another keeper from, I think, Portugal, wasn't it? Sarr. Again, don't know what to make of him. They were pretty poor towards the back end of last season. And I think, as you say, Jimenez is back and they missed his goals last year. But I'm not sure what to make of them. I think they're going to be really inconsistent. So it'll be interesting to see.
They've still got Pedro Neto, really, really good young player, and he's still really young. They've still got Traore. They've brought in a new exciting winger. So there are players there. But we're not saying there's not. They've still got Ruben Neves, who for some reason has just stopped being linked with all the top sides. Maybe this shows why he was never signed in the first place. But he was struggling to get in the side last season. It's going to be very interesting. It's going to be interesting to see if he sticks to the back three and how Connor Cody copes with that as well.
Agreed. I think they got a bit found out towards back in the last season. As you said, they haven't lost anyone big, but obviously we've got quite a lot of the transfer window left, so that could change.
I think 12th is fair for Wolves?
Yeah, I don't think they're going to be any higher.
11th. I've gone Everton.
Yes, that's exactly what I was going to say.
Really worried for Everton. I think the signings have been poor, really poor actually. I like Benitez as a manager, but he's a bit pessimistic. You looked at him at Newcastle. As much as Newcastle fans loved him, he played no better football than Bruce has played. He was just a better name, and he stayed when they went down and hadn't managed Sunderland before. But now he's in an environment where he's managed Liverpool. A lot of Everton fans didn't want him. The signings they brought in, Damari Gray. I mean, how much did he cost? $1 million or something like that, which is, farts cost $1 million in the Premier League now. There's every player is £1 million pounds. The youth team players are £1 million pounds. So that's interesting. And I just don't get the Andros Townsend transfer. I thought that from Crystal Palace he'd go down, not up. I think he can count himself a very lucky boy, but he might barely play. I'm again. They could finish a lot lower than 11th. I don't see them finishing any higher though.
No, agreed. I do feel sorry for Everton fans. Obviously, you kind of start the summer with Ancelotti in charge, thinking, okay, he might have a decent season next season. He gets the call from Madrid and he's off, and I feel sorry for them. But yeah, as you say, they've bought some really random players who don't improve the side in any way, shape, or form. Again, you're relying on Calvert-Lewin to score goals. I don't think James will feature, which is a shame. I really like James.
James has said that, like Aguero signing for Barcelona and Messi leaving and being like, what's the point of me being there? He said exactly the same thing about Ancelotti. He went to play for Ancelotti and he doesn't want to play for Everton anymore. Yeah,
agreed. And I loved James when he was on it last season. I think it was brilliant. But yeah, a very unpopular decision hiring Benitez, and I don't expect much from them. I think they're going to be slap bang in the middle of the league.
They're average. 10th. Who have you got?
I think, if I can, probably I've got Leeds.
See, I've gone West Ham.
Yeah, West Ham were above Leeds. So yeah, it was this or that.
I'm going to surprise you with where I put Leeds. I put West Ham. I don't think they're going to have as good a season as they did last year. Again, they haven't strengthened. I can't off the top of my head name a player that they brought in.
They've only bought the goalie who was at Fulham last season, who shipped goals galore. That's pretty much it. So
yeah, I just they had a chance here to really.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think they had such a good season last season, and obviously players like Yarmolenko will come back at a great Euros. They've kept Rice, that's good, but they're not going to do anywhere near as good as last season. I think they're in Europe this year, are they? Is that right?
Yeah, exactly. They had a chance here. They had a chance here to bring players in, and Declan Rice is a great player, but he doesn't play the position. I know you say he's a central midfielder. He's a holding midfielder. A holding midfielder is not the player who's going to push up a league. You can be the best holding midfielder in the league and finish 19th.
And are they going to be one of those teams where the European football counts against their league form? I wouldn't be surprised. They could have a shocker.
They don't have the squad. They don't have a big squad. It's going to be very difficult. So I think, 10th. And I wouldn't go lower than 10th because they did look very good last season. They need to be patient with David Moyes. Don't pull the trigger too early if it's not going that well. Right, this is where I'm going to shock you, mate. So I've got Spurs and Arsenal in 8th and 9th.
Oh, okay. Okay. I don't even know where we are at the moment. I've got
Leeds in 9th.
Leeds in 9th, and I had, is that West Ham? West Ham in 8th.
Yeah, on Spurs and Arsenal 8th and 9th because I don't think they're very good. That's all I've got to say. Arsenal, have they improved? Ben White's a good signing, but what is he? You're still struggling in a lot of areas. You brought in a midfielder from France.
Anderlecht, Belgium, yeah.
Yeah, Belgium midfielder. He's not a Belgium international. He's under 21, and at the moment, Belgium aren't exactly they're a good national team. But you look at some of the fringe players in that squad, and you're thinking, Jesus. Yeah, and Tottenham just completely, excuse my language, in the shit. So
Okay, yeah, mate, I agree. Like honestly, as an Arsenal fan, I've got absolutely no confidence or pessimism about the season. It's going to be a load of rubbish. We are really, really bang average. We bought poorly. We've spent obviously quite a lot of money on Ben White, who I think will be great. But there's still players like Bellerin, Kolasinac, Torreira. Got a lot of crap in that squad that needs to be gone. And I don't see us doing much.
So I've got Spurs above Arsenal. So let's go through Arsenal first. Average goalkeeper. I've heard you're linked with a 30 million move for Ramsdale.
We are, another bang average goalie. Brilliant.
You'd be regretting getting rid of Martinez because he's a very good goalkeeper. You've not got a good right back. Bellerin lost it. Cedric Suarez isn't what Arsenal needs. He's at Southampton's level. That's where he came from. That's the level he's at. Ben White, very good signing, but is he ready to? He's almost going to have to lead that back line. And 50 million when Varane's going for 40 million is a big price tag for him after one season in the Premier League. Gabriel, whatever you're calling him. Not convinced, but next to a better partner, he could prove to be brilliant. Funes Mori looks poor in pre-season against Spurs, I thought. Tierney's good. He's a good player. Granit Xhaka is still there. Thomas Partey's injured again.
Yeah.
El Nenny's still knocking about. You got rid of Joe Willock after playing really well at the end of last season. I like Smith Rowe. Saka's brilliant. Was brilliant in the Euros. Not got any bad word to say about him. I still think Aubameyang's poor. Eddie Nketiah is not good enough. Lacazette hasn't really been the proper number 9 you need. I just, Willian's still there. There's so much bad in that Arsenal squad. They're a mid-table side, and that is that's with Smith Rowe lighting up the Premier League this season. James Maddison, bringing him in, very good player, and on paper makes the Arsenal team a lot better. But there's just so much bad in that squad, and I feel like bad attitudes as well.
Yeah, I agree. I think as you say, been through the whole team there, and there is a lot of rubbish in there. And obviously, we started the summer with the board coming out, going right. We're going to have a really big summer. We're going to spend a lot of money, and we've spent money, but not on players who particularly excite. Or you look at it and go, well, I'm not particularly impressed by that. And we're 2 days away from the Premier League starting, and we still haven't really finished our transfer business, and that's not good. And I'm not confident. We've got a really hard start as well. We've got, I think, Brentford away, City at home, Chelsea away. We could be on no points after 3 or 4 games easily. Tottenham
are in a very similar position. I think we've done better business in the transfer window in Romero and Brian, as I'm going to call him. Brian out on the wing. Lloris has stayed, which is great. I like the look of Galini as a proper challenge for him. Finally, ever since when Michel Vorm first signed, I would have said it was a proper challenge, but since then it hasn't really been challenged. We've still got rubbish right backs. It's still Aurier, Doherty. Good God, I want him to leave. And honestly,
a question for you: do you think Doherty will be better under Nuno?
No.
Okay.
No, I don't. I've watched him in pre-season against Milton Keynes Dons. He's still not the worst player on the pitch. He isn't good going forward. Really, he's not good defensively. He can barely run. Have you watched him run? Is it a jog? He plays the safe pass backwards every time he gets the ball. He doesn't beat a man. Doesn't really get the ball in the box. He does nothing. I can honestly say I think he's the worst player I've seen play for Tottenham. And that's when we had some, I've seen Rowan Ricketts play on the wing and Willem Corsten. They had some real shockers. And I've never seen, maybe back then I was too young to really understand what was going on. But in recent memory, I'd rather have Hossam Ghali playing again. No, that's a bit strange. Yeah. No, I think he's awful. I think Aurier is better, but better with 2 bads. And then Tanganga's the other option. But he gives us nothing going forward as well, but just better defensively. And, Romero looks great. Is he going to play with Dyer? Probably. Sanchez, no.
Do you think Romero hit the ground running? Because I'm always a bit wary of players coming from a different league. They've got to hit the ground running, and you never know. I
think we're lucky we've got Nuno in that respect. Do I think that Nunes is the right manager for Tottenham? No. No, I think it shows the backward step we've taken. I do think that in regards to Romero could be right, just because seeing the interviews, Romero speaking in Spanish, and Portuguese and Spanish is similar enough that they'll be able to communicate. So that's one thing. Reguilon will probably help if they're playing next to each other. But again, Reguilon fell off a cliff last year in terms of his form, and Ben Davies is just boring. And Ndombele hasn't made a squad in pre-season. I don't know what's going on there. Yeah, Dele Alli looks a bit better, but I don't trust him. Kane, what's going to happen there? I think that he's going to sign for Man City. I think they've just held it off so he couldn't play in the first game of the season because we got Man City on Sunday. Yeah, I think Tottenham are looking really bad. However, I still have them finishing above Arsenal because I can't.
It's so bad, isn't it? I think we did this list time last year, and I think we were both a bit more optimistic about what was going to happen. But
sixth, yeah, something like that.
Yeah, it's just so bad, and obviously Kane's going to go. I think you've already been linked with Martinez at Inter, and the young lad at Fiorentina is quite good as well. And
end up with
just need to get it done with and kind of utilise that money and get some better players in, because you're right, you're really short, and I do worry, but I still think you'll finish above Arsenal, which is really bad.
Yeah. Here's my question. Are you willing to let me put Spurs and Arsenal 8th and 9th with Leeds above them?
Yeah, quite comfortably. Yeah.
You are. Let's do it.
I'm that confident Arsenal will be on no points after 3 games that we'll see where we are. But
so Leeds 7th.
Yeah,
I like Leeds. I think they're very good. I thought they brought in a great left back. They've kept their squad the same. They brought in Jack Harrison as permanent, which is great because it gives them that assurance. I know that we've used this excuse for teams not strengthening in the past, but these were teams in flux almost. Leeds are improving, and the team looks really good, and they've got a great manager. I don't necessarily think not changing too much is a hindrance to this Leeds side, so to speak.
Yeah, no, I agree. You always think second season in the Premier League, there's always a team that's a shocker. Leeds aren't going to do that. Leeds are much, much better than that.
We were speaking about Sheffield United last season, so take it with a pinch of salt.
Yeah, I think Leeds' work rate, the fact they've kept Phillips in midfield. I do expect Bamford to still score goals this year. I think he'll be fine. Mm-hmm. They're just a very, very good side, and I do worry that if big position comes up at another club, I think Bielsa might be linked because he's a very, very good manager.
Yeah, I mean, you wouldn't be surprised, but I also feel like he's quite a loyal manager.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and I'd love to see Leeds in Europe. Be brilliant, wouldn't it?
Oh yeah, the comeback's complete.
Yeah,
and I think they'll do well. 6th, and this is a big call. I've gone Aston Villa.
So have I. Yeah, I think they're going to be great this year.
I think they look brilliant. I know they've lost Grealish, but they had already rectified the Grealish. They knew they were losing Grealish. They must have known because they rectified it before it's happened. And now they're linked with Cantwell as well. If they get him, brilliant. I'd really like the look of Leon Bailey. Remember when we were calling for him to be in the England squad for the 2018 World Cup, even though he wasn't eligible. Ollie Watkins, another season in the Premier League, looked brilliant. Buendia, brilliant. Yeah, I'd be well happy if I was Aston Villa.
Wow. I think Villa are slowly becoming my second favourite side. I think the way they've recruited, the way they got Danny Ings over the line without anyone knowing was just brilliant, wasn't it? And the way they've utilised that money, they've got some real quality as well. And they've still got money to go back in and, as you say, get Cantwell. I think they've got Twanzebe on loan again. He's a great player. I love Twanzebe.
And might even start. You've already got Concert and Mings. They've got a good back four. Cash, Concert, Mings, Target. Now they've got Twanzebe to be there, who's someone I've always thought deserved more of a chance at Man United, especially some of the players they've played at the back. That's a great backup. Their midfield looks absolutely superb. Douglas Luiz is improving every year. We forget how young he is. Just because that first year in the Premier League, maybe he didn't do loads, but he was great last season. McGinn's still there, brilliant. And the front players is just that is easily a top 6 front 4, if not higher.
Yeah, no, 100%. And I think I love the way I think it was the chief executive came out and did that video about Grealish leaving. I love things like that. It's so transparent, and it's great for fans to hear from someone in the club who's just gone, well, he wanted to go. We've invested well. We're going to have a great season. I love that. I think it's brilliant from Aston Villa, and I can't wait to see how they do. I think they're going to be great this year. Can't wait.
And they got a great price for Grealish, £100 million, British transfer records. Yeah, not much more. I think they've had a really successful summer, even with losing Grealish. If they kept Grealish as well, they'd be just unstoppable. That's a bit of a push, but be very, very good. Fifth, I think we'll both agree on fifth is Leicester. Then they're going to miss out on the top four again. But I like some of the players they brought in. Is it Daka up top? Looks like a good player.
Yeah, Pacey.
I like Bertrand at left back, whether he'll start or not. But they didn't really play with they haven't had a left-footed left back, so he might not go straight in. But he's great, great strength and depth again, and they've got a brilliant manager. But I just think players that other teams have brought in is going to pip them this year.
Yeah, no, agreed. I think they're great. The first 11's great. I think they've got the lad from Lille as well, Samar Aisvik, who's a great midfielder. They're just a very good side, aren't they? And again, they're going to have a really good season. Really good season.
Into the top four, Champions League places. So left, we've got City, Chelsea, United, Liverpool. They're the four teams we've got left. I've gone Liverpool in fourth just because I don't think they've strengthened enough. Yeah,
thank you. Yeah, agreed. I thought we were going to be completely different here, so I'm pleased you're on the same wavelength. Are you surprised? I'm shocked they haven't gone into someone, especially front three, just for a bit of competition between those three players because they need it.
I mean, they've got Konate at the back. That's their big signing, and he looks very good. It's almost like having a second Van Dijk, which is great. Van Dijk coming back is going to be like a new signing, but you've got to remember he was playing when they got pumped 7-2 by Aston Villa, so it's not like he's completely infallible. Trent Alexander-Arnold needs a huge season after the ups and downs of last season. Robertson's injured for the start of the season, so that's a worry. Yes, they got in Jota last season, and that worked really well. Thiago needs to hit the ground running. Barely played for Spain in the Euros. Yeah, I can't see them finishing outside the top four, but I just don't. I think the other three teams have improved significantly.
Yeah, great. There's just something about Liverpool. I don't know what it is. They've just lost that air of sort of what's the word? Yeah, they've lost it. They've just lost something about what they are and what they do. So 2 years ago, they're going to every game and go, they're going to win. But there's just something about them at the moment where I'm concerned.
The thing is, Klopp seems like this amazing manager and great man when things are going well. He's not pleasant to watch on the touchline when it's not. That nasty streak comes out, which he needs to have and which makes him a good manager. But at the same time, there was a lot of whinging last season, a lot of complaining, which I didn't particularly agree with and enjoy because every other team is pretty much in the same boat as you. Calm down and get on with it. There's also the tension between Mane and Salah, which was absolutely fine when they were both scoring loads of goals. But last season, not so. Neither of them hit the numbers that they would want to hit. I mean, Salah's still scored loads. Mane, not enough. And Firmino's never been the goal scorer, but that's been fine when the other two were scoring. And the tension that they seem to have, I felt was highlighted last season. And that relationship's got to improve.
No, I agreed. Yeah, as you say, it was a poor season by Liverpool standards, wasn't it? And you are right. There is something. Firmino was really poor last season. I mean, really, really poor. And yeah, I just wish they were linked with someone else just for that extra bit of competitiveness between that front three. Because Jota's been great when he's come in. I thought they might have gone for Martinez from Inter, just someone there, just competition. But yeah, they're just going to be short of the other three, aren't they? Unfortunately.
And I think that they've underestimated the impact Gigi Wijnaldum had on that midfield because losing him is huge. I know Milner's still there, but he's only another year older. Henderson coming back from injury. And Jones looks very good, but Wijnaldum was very important to that side. And they've almost lost their most important player on a free.
Yeah, agreed. He did both ways, didn't he? He's obviously good defensively and he can score goals, which is a great trait from a midfielder. But yeah, that's a big call. And the fact they haven't got anyone else in is a big call as well. So yeah, I'm a bit worried for Liverpool, but I think they'll still finish top four.
Third, Manchester United.
Yes, same.
I think we've probably got the same then.
Yes.
I disagree. Yeah, I really like the look of the United side. I know we're putting them a place down from last season, but I think Sancho, again, he's playing Germany. I really like the look of him. Premier League is a different beast. If he can hit the ground running, great. If he has a bad month at the start, that could be the end. It's what happens when you're at Manchester United. If you're not good enough right from the off, fans will turn, especially now they're back in the stadium, and it's very hard to regain confidence. This is a big season for both Mason Greenwood and Marcus Rashford. Greenwood's been around the first team long enough now that he needs to really start to cement that place. I know he's still young, but still, you look at what Phil Foden's done. He's not much younger than Sancho, only a year or so. And Sancho's been bought for 75 million now. Rashford is the 6th choice winger for England. And I know he was injured the second half of last season, and I know he's not going to be starting the start of the season because of his shoulder surgery, but if he shows the form he showed second half of last season, he's going to drop out in the England squad. Great guy, love what he does off the pitch, but that can't get you in an England squad.
No, agreed. As you say, yeah, obviously had a torrid summer, really, didn't he? Bless him. But as you say, his form's been poor back in the last season. He's way off of it compared to a lot of players in and around the England squad. Man United are a bit weird, aren't they? Giving Solskjaer the contract, he hasn't won anything. I do worry slightly. I think Varane's a great signing. I think Cavani will be absolutely fantastic up front again this season, and they've got a lot of quality. I'm shocked that.
Yeah. Whether I don't think he's a key player. Fernandes needs to play well because he was bad in the Euros. Great back four. Varane, Maguire, Shaw, and Wan-Bissaka. They could still be linked with Trippier, who I think is an improvement on Wan-Bissaka, but that's a debatable point. But yeah, I think they look very good. I just think the top two look better.
Yeah, agreed. And I do think that that mentality of Solskjaer and still not winning anything is a big thing for United, and I do think they'll fall short.
Yeah. Second, Chelsea. I think they look very good. Lukaku's coming. That's done now. Fabrizio Romano said, "Here we go." So that means it's happening. Lukaku is one of those players who could score 40 goals this season, but could score 10. He's quite inconsistent, but I think that they need a bit of a battering ram up front, and I think he'll finish the chances that Werner missed.
I think it's great for Werner as well, because back in Leipzig he kind of played off of Poulsen up front. He was, in a sense, a target man, and I think coming from wide, I think he's more dangerous, and I think that could really suit him. Him and Havertz behind Lukaku is very, very dangerous. Obviously, you've got Mount behind that, you've got Kante, you've got really, really good squad. And
we're not even mentioning Pulisic and all these other great players they've got.
And they've got a psychological edge over City as well, haven't they, recently? And you do think, do you know what, if it's tight going into the title race, they could do something. And Tuchel's done really well since he's come in. I do really, really like Chelsea.
They've got a very, very good manager. I just think they need another centre-half. I like Christensen. I don't love Zuma. Rudiger, I'm not 100% convinced by. Thiago Silva, he's at the age now when any season could be the season he completely craps the bed. But I don't get me wrong, I think he's classy, and I think the chances are he'll be one of the players of the season. Just, he's at the age where his legs could go. So, yeah, I think one more centre-half. They've been linked with Koundé, who Tottenham were linked with for ages and didn't go for. So yeah,
very good centre half, a lot of money. As you say, I think Rudiger's in the last couple of years of his contract. I think he might look to leave, which is fair enough. And as you say, the other two are decent centre halves, but you want someone next to Thiago Silva commanding. And if they had that, I think they'll be very, very close.
Top of the table, Manchester City. We both agree, and I think we both think they're getting Kane. I honestly believe that the whole saga that we've seen over the last week is because Daniel Levy didn't want Harry Kane playing for Manchester City against Tottenham on the opening weekend of the season. And I actually think that's better for Kane as well, because I don't think he would have wanted necessarily to have had his debut being against Tottenham. So I think it works better for everyone. Even without him, they've got enough, but they are lacking a proper centre forward. But then again, they were for most of last season as well, because Aguero was injured and Jesus isn't really it. So they'll do the same. Grealish is great. I think he improves their team, and I think he should start. I think he's that good. I think he's a gem. If Kane comes in too, all of a sudden, you've got Grealish, Foden, Sterling and Kane all on the same side, and that can only be good for England. Yeah, agreed.
As you say, I think it's only a matter of time before Kane comes through the door. I'm very, very much looking forward to that, especially as an Arsenal fan. So I think if he comes in, he's going to bang 20, 30 goals easy. And they are going to absolutely fly. I am very, very...
He's going to have 3 times the chances. If Kane goes to City, it wouldn't surprise me if he's top of goals, top of assists. It just depends whether Guardiola wants him to get the assists or not. If he says to Kane, no, just score goals, then maybe his assist number will go down. But I think he's just that good a player.
Yeah, agreed. I'm very intrigued to see where he plays Grealish. Obviously, there's been a lot of talk that he might play deeper. I don't think he will. But yeah, it's going to be very, very intriguing to see what Grealish's position is, how often he's playing. I love Grealish. I hope he starts, but I think he might be slowly and gradually brought in, and by the end of the season, he's starting every week.
I think we're more likely to see Jack Grealish off the left because I think it's Phil Foden who's more naturally going to move into that midfield three. It wouldn't surprise me if their midfield three, if Foden becomes the David Silva role, and it's Fernandinho, De Bruyne, and Foden in that three. And I know he wasn't fantastic last season, but he was great in the Euros. Sterling off one side, Grealish off the other, Kane through the middle. And if Kane doesn't come, you've got Sterling through the middle and Mahrez off the other side. It doesn't really matter. They're just brilliant and they're going to win the league. Yeah,
they are. Yeah, I would say. I know Diaz had a pretty poor Euros, so I hope he doesn't bring any of that form into the Premier League season. He probably won't. But they are streaks ahead. They're going to be a joy to watch this season. And that we're done, mate, aren't we?
Yeah, we're done. So this is our Premier League table. You ready? 20th Watford, 19th Norwich, 18th Southampton, 17th Newcastle, 16th Crystal Palace. So sorry, Watford, Norwich and Southampton, but see you later. Burnley in 15th, Brentford in 14th, great debut season. Brighton in 13th, 12th is Wolves, 11th Everton. But that could completely change, especially that sort of 15th to 11th, just depending on what happens during the season. But then that's the same for everything. 10th West Ham, 9th Arsenal, 8th Tottenham, 7th Leeds, 6th Aston Villa, the historical big teams. Those Super League clubs are really struggling in there. 5th Leicester, 4 Liverpool, 3 Man United, 2 Chelsea, and the only team that either of us can see winning the league this season is Manchester City. So that was our far too early Premier League table prediction. The transfer window isn't even closed, so this could change. You never know what's going to happen after the first few games of the season. But I think we've done all right. I think we've done okay.
We probably said this last year. We won't be far off. We might have a couple of shockers here and there, but I'm pretty happy with that, and I think it's going to be very, very close.
Yeah. All right. Well, that was the first pub football of the 2021-22 Premier League season. Enjoy the season, and cheers.
Cheers.